bench again. Rek'Sai's going to get banned out an Insta-Jana there for flying Jew.
But they didn't really want to engage on them hard that time. They wanted to kite and poke, so they can run a kite poke comp very, very well with one heavy engager. If Jana needs to keep people alive and position herself around the team fight, after a while that ultimate becomes very hard to hold on to because you like to use it for the heal. So I feel that they can run exactly the same thing on the side of Fortnite, minus the Aurelia, and still do that team fight perfectly fine.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, in game 1 I mentioned that Jana might have been the thing that pushes that comp over the edge for Endzone, playing that, kite and fight sort of comp. So we'll see what happens here. That's quite a bold hover though, and we could be changing things up pretty aggressively here for Fortnite, but we'll see what they want to go for.
Yeah, and Naya going, once again, looks like it will be the Wukong as well. So that hover on Kassadin, I won't talk about it until it's locked in, but it's a very smart hover because Kassadin is so versatile in mid and top at the moment, and is versatile in build paths as well. So
yeah. We talk about flex picks just being so important, especially in the early stages of the draft. And now I can talk about it spawn because that is Kassadin and Wukong locked in.
Yeah, so the important thing about Kassadin is does well against AD tops. A lot of people look at Kassadin as the anti-mage, but if you stack some armor on Kassadin, the way that, because you can't get bursted down because of your armor, your slows keep people in range so much that tank Kassadin is actually a really good pocket pick if they run heavy AD compositions. We used to see Boy play it in the LCS every now and again, and it's just one of those things that's super fun to watch.
Yeah, and I like Naya's Wukong in the last game as well, so I like that he's returning to this particular champion. Just again, kind of suits Fortnite style. Very big, aggressive, Amumu-esque jungler as you described it. And, ooh, gonna play pretty fancy here. Orianna's gonna get locked in. There we go. And the Jarvan's gonna go to Lockdog once again.
Yeah, so they're like, okay, we are not seeing an Orianna Wukong ever again. That was terrifying. That is what swung the game around. Even though Sanjay came up huge, it was that one shockwave on top of the Wukong ultimate. So getting that one away, let's see what they use instead in their Wombo combo in the mid lane.
Yeah, and maybe Fortnite have the option of playing more of what we saw out of Easy in game 1, if they want to go for that sort of comp as well. Not sure specifically on Moya's champion pool. We've only seen him play Orianna so far in this series, but if he plays something like a Zeta wants to go for that action instead, they can also do that. So Fortnite, to me, it'd be surprising if they change things up, given how well they play together in big team fight comps, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, and I've called it a couple of times so far. We saw last night in the LCK how good Lulu mid still is, and I would love to see that come out. Xerath, of course, is a very strong pick, but just lacks the synergy, I feel, that really is needed for a big team fight team. And wow, CNG going for Graves. That's a pretty brave pick into an Orianna.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of
swaps it out for the end of the last second.
Sad times. But I mean, his Ezreal was fantastic in the last game. Can't fault him for picking it here again in this last game as well. And it is Xerath. Kind of goes with the siege potential that Fortnite have liked quite a lot of, but I think I agree with you in that it doesn't quite fit the style that they've been playing so far.
Yeah, and I just don't think it fits Kassadin whatsoever. I think that Kassadin excels in getting in there and really fighting. And you mentioned it, Xerath is a poke champion. Sits back, likes to chunk people out. Doesn't really like to, I guess, follow up on burst unless they run it like the alley-oop dunk contest where Kassadin really slows people, chunks them out, and then Xerath just sits like 3,000 miles across the other side of the map and ults them to death.
Potentially. I mean, they've got a lot of global or semi-global action between Ezreal and Xerath, so we could see some fun ones. I'm not quite sure which support they want to use to tie the room together either, but we've got picks coming through as well. Endzone hovering a couple of different champions here. We'll wait a little bit to see, but a very popular AD carry that's currently being hovered over would be really good in this sort of team. And I love how she plays with Jana, so we'll see what has to happen here, but it almost feels to me that Endzone are picking the comp that Fortnite has run the last 2 games.
Yeah, and we saw it Jana Sivir, I think, in the IM game, and they just farm so well. Like, Sivir just pushes out lanes, gets you ahead so well early in the game.
And my other favorite thing, I think, has to be Sivir Maokai. You know, you need to get your Jarvan in range. You want to get your Maokai in range for W. Jana, if she wants to go the old captain's boots that we saw in Worlds as well, we can go for that. And Orianna can speed people up as well. So you have so much hard engage and so much mobility that Endzone can just brute force a 5v5 team fight. And this is hilarious to me because Endzone are trying to fight like Fortnite have been fighting in the last 2 games.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Fortnite can do to Endzone exactly what they did. If everyone goes in, Carlos' guy can just jump straight onto Fence Boy, blow up that Sivir, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, so we have this big, tanky, heavy engage, and we have no damage left.
And this would be a great last pick if it comes through as well. I feel like as far as supports go, there's not that many options. Like, we've seen a lot of Thresh, obviously, was still quite good. Jana, I feel like, is probably at the top of support picks right now, but the pool's quite shallow. And given the comp that Fortnite have presented so far, I do like this last pick a lot. Nami's going to get locked in here, going to really supplement the disengage in team fight. But Fortnite are all of a sudden going to have to play a very different game that they've already been playing for in, what, an hour and a half?
Yeah, so they've completely swapped it on its head. They're going team fight against what looks to be like maybe even a catch comp coming out of Fortnite. So, yeah, I don't know how this game is going to play out. Just touching on the support point, it looks like OC is starting to really... We have some great supports, don't get me wrong. The fact that Flying Jew is even in this promotion relegation, I guess, kind of event, just shows how good our supports are. We've got people like Egypt, people like Rosie that are still around the scene. But you hit it on the head, it looks like we're really tunneling on 3 picks in support. People are forgetting things like Alistair, things like Braun. We've seen Annie make a comeback. We saw a Syndra support last night. Like, come on, there is a wide champion pool out there for sports, and I think that we're really starting to fall behind in picking that up.
Yeah, and again, I mean, Jona's just so good that I feel like you have to pick her. And Nami just fits his comp so well. But I'd love Braum. I think he doesn't get enough play in the whole Jana-Nami sort of scheme of things. And Ali, as you mentioned, is really great as well. Sorry.
Yeah, so I think...
Trying not to die on stream.
Yeah, I think the good thing about Alistair is that he provides that if you don't have initiation, he gives it to you in support, and they're so rare. Him and Leona are kind of the only 2 people that do that. And if you look at the composition that is Fortnite at the moment, they do need someone to be able to get in there with this Wukong, because if Carlos is God is the second person that goes in, he's going to get blown up, because Cassinan is not that tanky of a champion.
Yeah, we'll have to see it. Sorry, everyone. I'm apparently... Whatever you had.
Yeah.
Game 1 I apparently have.
Yeah, so it looks like they've got a little bit of a different composition here coming out of Fortnite. I like the Ezreal as well as the Xerath. It kind of loses itself in, as I said, the Cassidy. But if they can get catches, they have a lot of single target burst damage.
I'll have to see what happens. That's the big thing. We've changed so much. There we go. We've changed so much in these comps now between what we've seen already in these first 2 games that what happens here is very different to what we've seen. So pretty curious to see what they do when I go for, because now, again, we've talked about the stars of these teams. They've kind of swapped to each other's style now for this last game here, and I don't know, it's hard for me to talk about Fortnite without them playing the champions they've already played in the last 2 games.
Yeah, definitely, and I think the important part here is Carlos' God can really dictate flow in top lane. I feel like he sets his team up so well. We saw that he went super aggressive on Aurelia as we do jump onto the rear. And if he's able to dictate flow to Yuri again, it's just going to mean that they have so much more pressure in the mid game than what I think that Endzone can bring. In saying that, if Endzone can execute successfully what Fortnite were trying to do and really get them to the point where they've got these 2 potent carries with all the big tanks, then it's going to be to the point where it's just going to be too much damage for them to be able to withstand.
Yep, we'll have to see here as Rekt and Moya gonna get amongst it early on. Just trading orders back and forth. Orion actually lost that battle somehow, but they do both put some wards on. Rekt will go back to base with all the very adorable Poros. And we'll reset all the here for level 1. Haven't seen any invades to start things off here, so gonna keep things pretty casual, it seems like.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. It looks like that they're just setting up exactly standard like they've had. We've not seen very many shenanigans coming out. Nice line of wards actually coming out from Fortnite at the start of the game at the bottom side of the map. But it looks like junglers will be on opposite sides once again, going with those Krugs first.
Yep, we do have a pause. I'm going to try not to die on stream again. Apologies for that. Again, whatever you had, I may have caught. Hopefully not, though. But, I mean, maybe it's just all the excitement here, because it's been such a great day of League of Legends. So we've got games tomorrow as well. Don't forget, 2 more best of 3s coming up as well. So don't forget to tune in tomorrow. Same time as well, 6 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Time for all those pesky times. There's a lot of them, actually, in this region. But getting into this game a bit more, not super surprising to see not that much aggressive level 1 stuff, but to me it's a little surprising we haven't seen that much Lee Sin, and it seems like Naya in particular is just a very different jungler to a lot of the junglers we've seen maybe earlier today in, say, the immunity set.
Yeah, definitely, and I really like that. I like the fact that obviously jungle is now a much more diverse role that you can take different things into. I like the fact that Wukong's made a resurgence. I think he's a very exciting jungler. I want to see that Amumu get through at some point.
What I wanted.
But yeah, I really like the fact that you can bring CC heavy junglers, you can bring tank heavy junglers. I'm waiting for Sejuani to be played. I think she's really strong at the moment. And as I think we've resolved some of the technical issues, so we will be jumping into the game fairly soon. But yeah, I like the fact that the champion pool for jungle has brought him back out.
I agree, and Sejuani, as you mentioned, is great fun, and so much experimentation is happening in the jungle. We kind of mentioned already that once you get out of the top tier junglers, it's not like before where we might have had, say, here's top 2 or top 3 junglers, and here's 2 or 3 more, and then just a bunch of people that no one wants to play. It's like, here's 2 or 3 junglers, and then here's literally every other champion in the game.
Oh, yeah, certainly. And I've seen some crazy things being jungled. Like, we saw Fizz a lot last season. I think he's fallen off a little bit. But it's like Lulu, TF, I mentioned Karma. Even Karma's being jungled at the moment again. So, yeah, I think that there is a lot of potential for this jungle pool to really explode.
Well, standard lanes, it seems like you'll have to see what happens. Fence Boy just kind of hanging out here. Fauna being a little bit cheeky, hanging out on that bottom side of the brush. But looks like junglers are both going to start on their Krogs once again here. So they'll end up on the opposite sides of the map and going to pick up their red buff as their first major buff here. Logdog, I like that he's still here on Jarvan, because Jarvan is not only just such a good jungler in this particular patch in this metagame, but he's done fantastic work on this champion.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they're playing so aggressively on the side of Fortnite after they saw what Logdog did to them last time. Like with how he just level 2 ganked and was able to pick up first blood. Maybe not looking to do it on the Nami and the Ezreal, because they are a little bit more tricky to lock down with the movement speed that comes out of Nami early in the game. But it looks like there will just be standard farmlands as Maokai actually picks up Wraith Camp for himself, grabs some wards, a ward and some potions, and burns his teleport to get top lane at level 2.
Yeah, and he's already at level 2 as well, which is just so great early on. So we'll see if this makes a bit of a difference at all in this particular lane. Carlos, level 1's going to feel a bit pressure, but he's doing the smart thing here, I think. Just taking his bottle with the crystalline flask up in the top, got his potions, he just wants to stay safe and farm, just like Yuri did in game 1.
Yeah, and it looks like Yuri runs a specific room phase to do that as well. Looks like he has some AP built in there as well as his ring to be able to ensure that he can get that early level 2. So if you're looking to replicate that, I'm pretty sure he's got an AP blue and a couple of 3 AP quints on there to make sure that he has enough damage to take out those raptors.
And it's cool that we've seen a lot of top laners. Jax is another one that comes to mind, where people have adjusted to taking camps because they're quite hard, but if you can do them, they give you so much early benefit with the gold, and especially the experience that they give. For me, Spawn, I almost feel like double jungling is criminally underexplored in this particular metagame, because if you can get through those camps, they just give you so much benefit.
Yeah, I think the only thing that double jungling isn't doing at the moment is it make sure that there's a lot of non-map pressure, and because of how strong early Dragon is, if you double jungle on the wrong side of the map as the first gate comes in, burns a flash so early. Logdog just loves this early ganks on Jarvan. But if you give away that first Dragon, it is so crucial.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You can no longer give away the map control that you may be used to. A Spence Boy in trouble. Bubble will be flashed, but Naya's dive through a good exhaust applied to. He'll burn down as well, and he might just survive here. Will get under his turret safely. Forced to back though. But no first blood forthcoming, but I like that Naya's being a bit more aggressive in the early game.
Yeah, I certainly do. I'm a little bit confused as to why Naya actually just ate to that minion, because they had a perfect freeze there and they could have got Fence Boy off a lot of CS if they had done that. But yeah, really well played by the bottom lane. CNJ looking to get ahead early, which he did not do last game. Remember, he was bullied around a little bit in that lane, fell a little bit behind. But once again, we're seeing Moya not struggle mid lane, but without that flash, he's going to be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, you're right about the freeze as well. Looks like Logdog going to come back again here.
There's so many creeps, they cannot fight anywhere near this.
Yeah, can't commit here. Flying dude's like, we're going in. I'm like, get out. Already took too much damage. Sivir will return to the lane as well.
Cannon creeps in particular do so much damage early game. Like, you cannot fight anywhere near a cannon creep unless it is hitting something else, not you.
Yeah, I like Fence Boy pulling his minions away as well. You're right about that freeze. Fence Boy not going to miss a single minion in terms of under his turret or getting pushed in early, but having maybe a bit of trouble without Janna last hitting here. So Colossus flying due just temporarily in the lane. Perhaps being felt a little here, but Sivir going to be comfortable. Early tier actually for CNJ. Able to farm out quickly, push that lane, and that, I guess that's the advantage, where he's able to go back and get a very early tier for himself.
Yeah, definitely was able to do that. As we see, a gank coming in from Naya. No CC here, though, so Fury just going to be able to scroll out. We'll be able to teleport. No, it's not back up, so not going to be able to get back to that lane. May lose some CS.
Yeah, nice bit of pressure. Naya may be doing a little too much of that in this particular game. He's only level 3 still. Galvin is now level 4, and they've both been pressuring quite a bit, but potentially a bit of overpressure here by Naya, who's going to help Carlos in the top lane push that in. Moya struggling a bit here against Orianna, getting outpoked, which is pretty normal in this matchup.
Yeah, and I think that Logdog is forcing Naya to put this pressure, but Jarvan is just so much better pre-6 than Wukong could ever imagine to be. Wukong really depends on that ultimate to be able to impact the game in a massive way. It does so much damage, as well as the knock-up. So if they could make a decision and say, hey, Logdog never gets level 6, but Wukong never gets level 6 either, I reckon they'll take that trade.
I think so too. Kind of interesting stuff that's happening as well in this Midlands. So you see Wrecked and Moya just trade back and forth. 43 to 36 with Oriana currently in the lead as far as CS goes. And again, just keeping that ball nice and forward here and just really zoning Moya out of his own lane, which is kind of weird because Xerath's such a long-range champion. He's known for the poke usually. Yeah,
he certainly is. He'll be able to farm fine. Xerath's one of those champions that you get a couple of levels in his queue. After 3 levels, you can just queue, I think it's either backline and it's just completely gone. As Naya coming in for another game.
Really sneaky. Rex forced the flash, does so instantly. And will EQ out of the way, has to dodge the ultimate, but can't dodge them all. And Moya nails first blood with the second bulb.
Yeah, and we talked about how he was starting to get bullied around. That's a great response from Naya coming in, helping his laner out. Going to be able to tax a little bit of experience as well, meaning that he might be able to get 6 off the buff. That's so key.
Yeah, and just a really nice bit of pressure in that Oriana matchup, which was a little bit irritating, I think, from Moya there. Turned around by a beautiful decoy yank there from Naya. So, first I will go to Fortnite here, and I think that's the big difference. Fortnite, I don't think, have ever been in a good early game position in this particular game.
Yeah, no, they certainly haven't. As we see, Carlos has got actually dictating flow of this top lane in quite a way as well. He's up 8 CS, even though he did get a little bit chatted with the early level 2 from Maokai coming out. But that gank to force Maokai back just set him up in a perfect way. He's got that catalyst versus the double Duran, so he's looking very pretty for maybe a 12-minute Rod of Ages as well.
Yep, and of course, by game I meant series as Fence Boy farming down the bottom here, was flying through pretty even between the two AD carries. Double Dorans there versus tier plus of Dorans there over on Ezreal. But Sivir not really aggressively pushing this lane like we might expect with the Janna. In fact, CMJ going to get that minion move pretty close to that turret. Fence Boy and Fly do slow playing their lane a little.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a deliberate choice to try and get some ganks down bottom and try and shut down C&J early, because we saw what happened last game if he got rolling. But yeah, as you said, Sivir not expending any mana to try and push this lane up and really take advantage of how good her and Janna can, I guess, pressure turret.
And this might just be a really aware play. You mentioned that Wukong, his level 6 is probably coming up quite soon, just given his movements, even though he was quite aggressive from level 3 onwards. If that's true, Easy cannot afford to be pushed ahead when Wukong comes in, because that's a really clean double kill.
Yeah, it certainly is, and it looks like they are just looking to farm this lane out, give the second buff over to the mid laners respectively, may try and shove those ones out. Neither jungler is level 6 as of yet, but they will both get it off their blue buffs.
Yeah, so we'll have to see. It looks like Skirmish Saber versus Raiders Trailblazer. Wukong probably needs a little bit more help in that jungle, so they're going to go for the axe weapon there. Blue buff will go over to Wreck there. Logdog will hand that one over. And everyone's just kind of having a good old time here. Fortnite haven't done too much else after that early kill, but actually 800 gold ahead is quite significant just 9 minutes in.
Yeah, and I think it's all coming from that top lane. Carlos has got is now 23 CS in this game. Really looking strong on this Cassidy. Just the Aurelia play was fantastic, but even without an aggressive build, is still controlling this lane really well.
Yeah, and maybe quite comfortable in champions. You know, just kind of hang out and farm on the top lane. We always joke that, you know, that's the job of the top laner here, but we've seen what happens when Cassidy gets items here, and Castle's going to have a very secure lane there, isn't it?
Logdog needs to be so careful. The range of Xerath is so important.
Dude, that was odd. I think he's actually trying to lure him in there. Naya's going to die. He pops his ult, but EQ's enough. Here comes the Xerath, or last bolt, not quite enough damage. And that's going to be a denied kill, but I love the synergy between the mid lane and jungle.
And if they recognize that Oriana went back, they can Dragon now for free, but doesn't even look like they want to go anywhere near it. Maybe a little bit of a miscommunication coming out of Fortnite, because that was completely free. 2 people back.
And Fortnite are not the team that, we've seen, you know, make aggressive early game calls here. To do a bit of a trade in the 2v2 here, looks like jungle and mid lane are rotating through as well. So we're gonna have plenty of support here. Good tidal wave, but will get dodged by the spell shield or block, I should say. Good damage coming through. Forsty on the heart, slow, just misses. As Flint will flash in. That's a great juke from Flying Dew as well. And Fortnite, nothing giving there. We'll poke them back off. Maybe now they go for the dragon, but if not, they've wasted quite a lot of resources.
Yeah, they can't go for the dragon at all. They've got 3 Oon characters, and they're just trying to put Xerath back up to mid lane into his lane. Needs to be careful from Rex here. If he gets Oriana ulted, he's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Drew gonna bust forward, try and look for the slow. Logdog finds a knock up. There's a great tornado as well. Easy shockwave there as Rex picks himself up a kill. And maybe now Endzone's gonna go in for the dragon. In fact, they will start it here.
Yeah, that was really poorly played by Fortnite. They're getting caught out. Never walk back upriver if you're not taking your jungler with you. Just walk through the jungle. There's no point in even risking it. Naya may come in for a steal here. No, first dragon going over to EZ here, so getting them himself in a nice early position.
Yeah, and again, this is sort of the story of the last two games as well. Endzone have just been so good at taking control in the early stages and just laning well. And I guess the wheels kind of fell off a little when Fortnite were just so good in the late game, given how the draft and the items kind of fell out. I think Fortnite maybe just don't play well with the lead because they're not an early game team from what we've seen. They love to get to those late stages and big team fights.
Yeah, and it does look like they like to farm out. Maybe they're just a team of people that want to keep things in equal lanes as long as possible and get their items and then try and win with late game synergy. We see teams like even old school M5, CLG, EU that only play well when they are 5 people together. And there are teams like that that have existed. So if that's their strength, they should definitely play like that. They just need to make sure they don't give away early advantages the way they have been.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where they kind of got an early advantage. We're like, we can convert this somehow. There's lots of good pressure, but maybe it's uncomfortable in that situation. And in that case, just farm a little bit more. Get slight edges in your lanes. You know, maybe keep that freeze going in the bottom lane that you mentioned, or run all the mid lane creeps into the mid tower and try and deny some more. Just take little edges. Don't overburden yourself thinking, oh, we have to get this dragon, and then everything just goes wrong.
Yeah, exactly. And especially burning things like flashes to trade flashes. Like, the communication should have been like, Siv's flash is still up, just pull out of the game. Now that you've given up your flash, you're Xerath. Without your flash, you're completely immobile. At least Siv's still got a spell shield and not that much CC in the bottom lane to really lock her up. So I think maybe just a little bit of overcommitment from Fortnite to try and get something to happen in that situation.
And I think we might even just be on a timer now where can Endzone maneuver this game into a position where they're strong enough in the mid to mid-late game where, or if Fortnite are just going to get to, 4, 5, 6 items again and just have the late game team fights that they've shown so much prowess in both these games.
Yeah, I think it really depends on who gets stronger. Whereas C&J gets really strong, or whether Yuri gets strong in this game. Because Maokai, you think Renekton's annoying to kill? Try and kill a Maokai with his ultimate up. He's just going to have so much CC, able to stick on top of Ezreal, be able to follow him all around that map with that Tristan's advance, and then have all the damage mitigation of his ultimate.
I think conversely, though, Carlos has got Cassidy, who are going to jump back into this game. That man right there, he is the other carry to look at here for our Fortnite's team.
Yeah, he certainly is, and we saw that they were expending in game 1. Fortnite were expending a lot of ultimates to try and peel Cassidy. If the same thing can happen here, you're exactly right, that they might just set themselves up to the point where Carlos' God can really carry his team.
And it's nice to have kind of another mobile damage trait here to kind of complement Ezreal. It's not quite the game 1 comp that Endzone had in their game, but it's kind of a hybrid of the first 2 comps we've seen from both teams, I guess, here. Again, Cassidy's struggling along beautifully here. His Rod of Ages is very close to completion if he doesn't already have the gold.
I think he picks it up right now there. Yep, he's going to come through and he'll pick up his Rod of Ages. You saw him just buy 1,500 gold worth of items. That's got to be a roll for Cassidy.
And 12-minute Rod of Ages is beautiful timing. I think 15, 16 minutes is acceptable. Anything later than that, it starts to get a little iffy. 12 minutes is wonderful here. And Carlos is going to return to his top lane and keep farming it out. And we mentioned that's kind of what Fortnite likes to do. Finsploy does miss the spell shield, and we'll eat a nice Q there from C&J's Ezreal. But Manamuna is done now. Things are checking along here for the, I guess, the 2 charging items that both Ezreal and Cassidy have here on Team Fortnite.
Yeah, and that's another way to look at the game. When you do build these items that take a while to get going, of course, very gold efficient, both of them, but they do need to stack up. Then, yeah, they just need to play safe at this point in the game and hope that they can get themselves over this little speed hump. We're seeing Morella Nomicon versus the Athenes in mid lane. Moya seems to favour that a little bit more, and we are seeing that Korea particularly still does stick to the Athenes.
Yeah, we'll have to see you as we continue fighting in the bottom lane. Flying Jew, by the way, just went in again. He might be like king of the spell thieves because he loves to get in and just get his gold.
Yeah, well, it's really important for people look at Janna and say she does so much without items. She does even more with items. She scales beautifully with AP just because of how her shield works. And then you put things like Mikhail as an important item on top of her, particularly CC, and she can do a really good job of peeling. So, yeah, as much gold as you can get on your support, the better.
Yep, you're actually going to dive through the Carlos. We'll just riff walk out, though. And that Monka is starting to get bullied a little bit here, which is a bit strange. Naya here in the top lane. We'll just take out this Pink Woods, so Yuri's vision. Not safe for now, but no gank forthcoming with Wukong getting spotted off there. And the tree, I think, maybe is not having a very fun time. He's 30 CS down, in fact.
Yeah, he certainly is having a rough time now. And, wow, the teleport coming in behind them in the bottom lane.
Oh, this is beautiful placement here. Finsploy could be in trouble. Can't spell shield in time. Does get slowed down here. The spell shield will come through. Does get popped there and nowhere to go. Kill will go. One to go to C&J. Does go to Carlos' God. And maybe we can look to collapse on the dragon as well.
Yeah, really smart play from Carlos to try and not pick up the kill. He recognises that Ezreal needs to get ahead. However, able to secure it in the end. In the meanwhile, Maokai has been able to push up the top lane and maybe get the turret down, so that's good response. The overall net profit on the side of Fortnite.
Yeah, maybe would have liked to see just an attempt at the dragon by Fortnite there. I think they probably could have brute force, but Yuri did have his teleport though.
Yeah, and it is down at the moment, so probably why they didn't even hear it.
That would make a lot of sense. There's a reason you're the colour commentator, Jake. As Carlos does return to his top lane, we'll continue to farm things out and try and pad that farm advantage just a little bit more.
Yeah, has picked up the Sork Boots as well as Flying Jew holds the lane well. What a nice support player there, taking a little bit of damage, but making sure that not going to allow them to get... That's a really good freeze, actually. That's all... no, it's not.
Fence Boy ruined it.
But I was about to say, that is a perfect minion wave that just got held off the turret.
Well, Flying Jew, making sure give Fence Boy all the options. Fence Boy says, thanks man, I'll push this one out. And proceeds to ricochet and boomerang it down. I like that he also sniped Zelda with a tornado for a bit of extra spell Thieves Gold.
Yeah, and maybe they're just looking to try and get some objectives controlled on this map. They're recognizing that it is getting a little bit out of hand, that Fortnite are playing their game, so trying to split it up as we see an aggressive Wukong dive in there. Yeah,
Naya trying to position here, and now the Dragon, when it comes back up in a minute 35, will be hotly contested by these two teams. Tower does go down in the bottom lane. Tyco's blessing though as Naya's going to come through. Good slow there on the Flying Jew in the tidal wave. Slowly coming in. Yeah, really nice there. Drew, good split though. Maybe going to be able to get out. Great exhaust as well, but Fence Boy has found himself in trouble. That's a great tornado to defend, but Fence Boy's got nowhere left to go, and Drew did everything he could and still couldn't save his AD carry.
Yeah, Zelda's tidal wave though was so good though. That was the perfect positioning, even though it didn't hit, and made Drew hang around for so long. Good ultimate in the end from Drew to try and split everyone up, but just such a good play out of Nami that's really secured that kill for her team.
And Yuri's actually TP'd back to his lane, it seems like, but might get forced out again here. Bottom tower's going to go down, so Fortnite will answer the bottom turret with the bottom turret for themselves here. 2-1 now, still in favor of Endzone as far as turrets go. Yuri getting bullied around a bit. He will not have his teleport up when Dragon comes back up. I don't think Cast will either, but it's much closer.
Yeah, he's having a lot of trouble, and with the fact that it's a Cassin and Xerath, I kind of disagree with double Doran's into the roller at this stage. We said 16 minutes is fine. That's kind of like the maximum time you want to get a roller, but you feel that he's not going to be doing that much damage regardless. He needs to just get tanky for these mid-game fights.
We'll have to see it. Poke just running out there from Xerath. Lane's actually going quite nicely here for Rekt, who's played nice on his Cinder. Of course, very different matchup here, Xerath versus Orianna, but Nomicon pots probably a rabbit on Xerath, I have to guess, with the need to see the Lord. A little slow there for Orianna. They could get Cassidon. Or maybe even Wukong ulti there as well. And let's say actually, that's a nice ult. Going to come through as well. We'll be okay. Naya going to dive through. Just a bit of a poke. They're using it. He's trying to zone away from that Ezreal. But Moe's going to keep poking down. Stunlands onto Logdog as well. And Dragon is up. They might go for it now.
Yeah, that is definitely a Dragon possibility. CNJ is slightly low, but I think still healthy enough with Zelda to be able to take this Dragon. Well, of course, not that much mana. In response, they're pushing out mid lane extremely hard, so they might be able to trade an objective boost, but they need to make sure they don't get trapped.
Carlos signing them off as well. This is 5v4 now. Turret does go down, and Easy will move away. They're good ultimate, but Fensboy takes a lot of damage. Great Xerath ult there as well. Almost gets the double True Shot barrage. Might have been enough, but Carlos is able to chase through. Double slow there as well with the Force Bolt. Oh, it's a great tidal wave. Trying to catch her off. Finds Logdog. Mike Drew gets clipped by a Mystic Shot as well. But they turn it around, and Carlos goes down immediately. Neither will catch him onto Yuri. The tree is likely going to go down. Orianna keeping him alive for so long as Naya gets chunked out by Rekt as well. What a stun there as Moya's going to clean that out. Really nice play by both teams there, but 3 for 1 there plus the Dragon for Fortnite.
Yeah, and they're trapped in a really hard place now. If they don't...
Nice ult, but it's not enough there. Flying Jew probably going to go down here. Naya just needs one more whack. Never mind, it goes to Xerath instead. And there's the ace actually completed as somebody got sniped there. C&J around the side picked off Jarvan as well.
Yeah, I was actually able to pick up Sivir at the end of that fight, so really well played from C&J there. And Naya is impressing me so much by holding off on taking kills. He understands that he is not the person that needs to get fed this game. It is that Xerath in the mid lane, it is the Ezreal, so he's just holding autos. He's securing them where he needs to, or just letting them go to the carries on his team, so really well played. Carlos is God. We spoke about how Cassidon can play 2 roles, either that assassin or the person that just continually chases, slows down, lets people do it, and yeah, able to get in there and really set up that fight.
Yeah, and you can just see how good of a lane Carlos has got us had here on this Cassidon, because not only is still streets ahead in CS here, with 40 plus CS in the lead now, building up those items as well on this Cassidon. whenever he enters a team fight, there's problems. And I think Fortnite are recognizing that they have, a slight lead here, but with the way their style as a team is set up and the way their comp is set up, they can start forcing more and more fights in this mid-game. And pretty much every Dragon fight, it's going to get worse and worse for Endzone.
Yeah, and I think if we saw anything last game, as soon as CNJ gets that Iceborne Gauntlet, that's when the game really starts turning around in their favor, and he's just picked that up. Blue buff is up. We'll be interested to see if they give it over to him, because this game, unlike last game, Moya is also having a terrific game, and Xerath with blue buff is, even better than Ezreal at this point, so they're giving that one over to him. And you have to say that all three lanes have really worked out in favour for Fortnite this game.
They haven't, and that's a first in this series. They've, had fine lanes or even lanes, but they've never been ahead, I don't think, in the early game, in the 2 games they've had already. So a very pretty looking position now for Fortnite, but Endzone can definitely fight back here. Infinity Edge is a good way along to winning the next few fights as well here. Siva has finished that wrecked as well, must be close to whatever need to see Ladra he is currently seeking. Other than that, though, I think maybe the sore spot to Maokai here in the top lane. You kind of already mentioned it, Spawn, but Carlos has just had a stellar lane, and Maokai just has not.
Yeah, and Carlos, they're sending 4 people up here to gank him, and I don't even know if that will be enough, as he jumped aggressively onto Flying Dew.
Yeah, once the trade damage there, just kind of hanging out. Laughing back and forth. He runs back towards his tier 2 turret. Actually getting chunked a bit by Oriana. Has to be quite careful here. Willing to trade, though, might have gotten Shockwave.
But meanwhile, in the bottom wave, look what's happening. There's 4 members strong down there, and they're just pushing in on the tier 2 turret. Looking to nearly turn this into a base race because they're confident by how much damage CNJ's doing.
And they should be as well. Ezreal pretty good at pushing as well. If you're attacking empty turrets, the Essence Flux helping out a ton in that situation. Top tower will go down there. Mikasa has got, he might not be able to kill anyone, but he can make it annoying here. His friend's boy gets ulted up. Xerath balls come through. Shiver's forced to flash up. Pops the ult as well to keep everything okay. But Fortnite are going to get the better end of this deal. Carlos is probably going to go down. There is 4 members descend upon him. And base race on, ladies and gentlemen, here. Teleport's going to come through for Yuri now, looking to defend. But that tree's not very tanky. Going to get aggressed on here. Good bubble. Will make it work. And the inhibitor's looking to go down now as well. No teleports are available for Fortnite. They cannot defend the top side of their base.
Yeah, and it looks like they're sending Moya back. All that boomerang blade just falling short. So maybe even getting an inhibitor, but not one in response, because they have to go back. They're still in their base. They're still going aggressive under the inhibitor turret.
Moya no ultimate yet, unfortunately. Can't deny those back to the big long range spell. But CNJ's going to go through Fence Boy. Almost goes down. But Ezreal not going to get it that time. And everyone will reset here. But that's a win there for Fortnite in that trade. They get the inhibitor, and Easy can't quite close that out.
Yeah, and so Endzone, even if they had have gone perfectly equal, still would have lost that because it's a bottom for a top. Bottom inhibitor is the easily the best inhibitor take in the game because of how much pressure it puts on you to stay away from objectives. Look at where that is, and now look at the top side of the map for Fortnite. Super Creeps are going to push in on that bottom side, and Fortnite are going to be able to pick up 2 free turrets on the top side of the map. Really easy. Expand their lead even further. Yeah,
and an Abyssal Scepter actually was the buy. I was wondering what a Blasting Wind and a Nomadic Mantle were doing in the same inventory, but it is Abyssal Scepter now. Cassian maybe doing a bit of a hybrid of the build we were talking about before. Wants to still do damage and be aggressive, but wants to be tanky and know he's going to be kind of a bit more in the front line.
Yeah, well, I think what's happened is he's recognized that Wreck is the damage source. So, wow, Yuri gets jumped.
Yeah, CNJ coming in. He's got those items sticking away. Dive actually might have come out here. Castle's got his tanking the turret here. CNJ will look to trade area, but he's just standing here tanking it. Naya coming in as well to secure that kill. They'll take the turret here as well. 3 members committed there for Fortnite up towards the top. Have to be a little bit careful, but Xerath will zone them off with Nami here as Endzone are trying to find a foothold back into this game, but Fortnite keep finding advantages. 5,000 gold ahead now.
Yeah, and what's happening is they're getting kills and then turning them into objectives. This is not what they were doing in game 1. As we see them trying to come in now, they need to be so careful. Flying Q may get aggressive on them.
Yeah, he's going a little too far. Forced to use the Monsoon very early to reset. Xerath going to come in now. The Tidal Wave will follow. So will just miss with there's the Xerath ultimate. CNJ gets that 1 kill. Wreck almost lives up to his namesake. There will go down to Ezreal. He gets the double kill. And Fortnite, every edge they get, they are turning into a big snowball. It is being shoved down the hill.
Yeah, it certainly is. And CJ on this Ezreal is the person that's doing most of the moving. 6, 0, and 4. He's an absolute beast there. Wow!
Just going in there, just diving through there with that ultimate there from Naya's Wukong. Yuri in trouble's going to go down there as Naya picks himself up. Yet another kill. Logdog getting poked out from under his own turret. That's going to be another inhibitor here for Fortnite, it seems like. No one left to really defend, and I think even if they were all up, Endzone would not want to try and fight this 5v5, and Fortnite We had two pretty long games here, Spawn, but Fortnite are going to try and make this a very quick affair.
Yeah, they certainly are. They're moving on to the inhibitor turrets now. Carlos has to be careful.
Good stun. Wrecked, going to get wrecked there. C&J will pick him up. And they're going to take out Nexus turrets now as well. Excuse me, Naya blocking out one. Yeah, I think it is. Two turrets go down almost simultaneously. Easy trying to defend their best fence by getting ripped to shreds by C&J. Logdog's going to try and do it again, but he's going to go down. Flying Tube in the back is trying so hard, but there's the teleport going to come in. That should secure this game, and Fortnite in very quick fashion, under 25 minutes, take the third and final game of this best of 3.
Yeah, and really big shout out to Zelda in that game. He had a pretty decent series, but 0-0 and 15 on that Nami. He had a stellar last game.
And, I mean, that was still a last game from Fortnite, from a team that had played pretty slow in their first two games and been very comfortable in late-game situations, to just really flip the switch and be like, we're ahead. After the one mistake they made where I thought, oh no, the wheels might be falling off a bit. They're not playing to their strengths. They just like, you know what? They found 18 minutes, I think, found their mid-game and just didn't stop.
Yeah, and really, once again, decisive shot calling. We're like, you know what, we can base race this. Carlos can defend much better than what Civic can in the bottom lane. Unfortunately, Fenceboy was getting so bullied out by that Wukong underneath that turret. Nearly even died. That would have even made a bad situation even worse. And yeah, just really smart shot calling to get that equal trade and then, yeah, come through with a big win. And
I think in such a long series, actually, again, we had two almost 50-minute games and then somehow a 25-minute game to finish things off. Both teams played really well in this series, and I'm glad that it's double elim in this tournament, so we're going to get to see both these teams at least one more time. If Fortnite are going to play like they did in the first two games, and then have a game that good as their last game, if they keep playing like that, if they play like game 3 every game, this team is, they're qualified. They're just playing so well. Yeah. And that third game especially was a big highlight.
Yeah, and you just see how much better they play when Moya's really on point. I don't think much changed in that game apart from the fact that Moya exploded 5-1 and 7 on that Xerath. We questioned the spot that it ran in the team comp, but was just able to poke people out, and he like a fine wine, got better with age.
Really did there, and unfortunately that does wrap up our broadcast for today, guys. I'm Julian Page. This is Jake Ponte. Join us again.